Okay. So good evening. Let's start with fixing that task from the last class. See, we had our rules, controller, and controller. So we have to make. So the main task. Let's try and understand this task. I want it that the value passed inside here, the value passed in this field in the called new password. I don't want it to be equal to the one in the database. Meaning, if it checks and you're trying to change your new password to what is already in the database, I want that to fail. So that's basically what this task is. Now let me start with creating our let's create our rule PHP at some call it check new password not save. No long name, but I wanted it to be descriptive, so this right, so let's go to our room. So what we are looking at here is first we get the user. User is equal to what Samsung user, and we are returning hash. Let's check what should be here. First should be the value. Import this. The value, then the last value. So the value here should be value. As value here should be user password. So this alone returns a true or false. So this is checking. Basically, you know what it's checking, sure, if they are the same. So let us get our message here. Now in our controller, let's use our guide right before confirmed. Now import enter. So let's give this a quick test. Let's see, where is that guy? What's the password? Let me log in. Just take this guy. Password updated successfully. Did we change it to password 1234? Now let's try that. So if it actually saves, then that's the problem. So it's still saving. Why isn't it working? This one doesn't work. Let's do simple debugging just to be sure. Using the die and dump just stops the execution of the application when the code gets there. So in a way, I'm just trying to check if our process actually reaches this code, and then if it reaches, I want to see whatever the value of this code is. So it's just a simple debugging process you can learn to know where your code is reaching and when. Let me change this out first. Let's see. Our code actually reaches there, so let's see what is inside. True is inside here, so why does it still? So our validation actually worked, but for some reason it's not failing. Let me do this. Let's try something. It is reading confirm, but it's not reading our Why? Oh, that is an issue, sure. Okay, I think I'll personally look into this later. Maybe it might not be possible or so. Yeah. So the other way that you did was actually also good. But we'll be using that hash check. So if this is true, we would like to return our failed response here. Let's borrow that message. And the value here will be request password. Yeah, so it works. Okay, that is not of us problem. Because of this confirmed, that's like things that don't work when they are supposed to. Later we'll look at this. For now, work with this one. So your alternative actually works also. So you can keep that in your code. We'll correct your this thing here. Okay. So what we have for the what next we have for the day is filtering and searching and all that. So basically, I'm trying to say we'll search, return houses that have a particular type, particular number of rooms. What else can we search? Estates, houses in a particular state. And before we do anything, I noticed that we missed out some fields also. So I'll be showing you how we add extra columns to our tables without disturbing our old migration files. For example, if your app is already in production, what we normally do in development is run a command, PHP artisan refresh, where it will delete everything in your database and push back your tables. So in production, we do not, when your app is in production, we don't do that. So we actually create a new migration to add some columns or remove some columns from the database. That is what we'll be going through here. So we are just going to add these two fields, address and price per annum. Let's get that done, and we have to name it very descriptively. So I'll say PHP. This is how we add that migration. PHP artisan just make migration. How do we name it? We name it add address. I'm using the Pascal case to write this the name. Add address and price per annum. What table are we adding it to? Properties table. Yeah, so let's do our guy. And notice that it formats it in the snake case way. Let us go to our migration in database migrations. Before I continue, this cars you're here, so I think I can slow down. Please, are you getting where I am, right? Are you getting where I am now? Alright, awesome. So let's add our new guys. production, in case you want to run a migrate rollback, you need it. Okay, we've done that. I think we are ready to run a migrate PHP ultrasound. Two columns now are in the database. If we check PHP admin, you should see them there. So the next thing we have to do is fill it up in our model file, which is in the app models property. We have two new guys here. This piano. Since this is development out, I just showed you how to add a new table, and you should always add it here. And I would like to refresh my database. PHP migrate refresh. Okay, we have a fresh database now. Properties controller. Let's create some dummy properties. Let's create a few guys here. Let's log in. But we don't have a user because we refreshed our database, so let's register again. We are logged in now. let's proceed with creating our search function. So first thing I'll do is create the, yeah, I can hear you now. You can't see my screen. You can't hear me well. Like, wait, let me oh, my screen is not even. Sorry, I think my network disconnected my screen sharing. You're cracking up, I can barely hear you. I think my network is bad. Alright, sorry about that, I was carried away. But basically, I was just like registering and putting new properties, just sample properties. I've not started anything yet. I'm about to start creating the function. So the next function we're working on is the search. We want to users to be able to like search for properties, whether the type of the property, the minimum amount of property, and then the state. Search everything by state. Alright, let us start. Let's start by, please, if I'm not audible, just call out to me. Okay. So I'm starting with putting in the route. So the search route will be public, so I'm putting it right here. I also added the get all properties route, so it will be public because people need to also see the properties if they are not logged in. So now this is our search route. I'm going to go into the controller now. Collapse all these. And add public function search. So first thing we do is create the query. How we do that is instantiate the property class. Let's say property equals new property. Then we're going to see here query equals property new query. You'll see the use of this in just a second. Now what should we start from now? Let's articulate what we want to do. We are doing search filtering, so we want to return states. Let's say, for example, we put in that we want every property that is in Lagos, and we want it returned to the user. So what we do is return. So sorry, we say if request we say has, basically if the request that is being sent has a particular field and the field we are looking for is let's just name it state. If the request has state, then what we are looking for is query equal to query just using the where property here, where state is equal to request state. Another thing we can do is looking for type. So if request has type, then type should be equals to. Please, can you hear me? Can you still see my screen? Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Because I'm hearing. Oh, you see, something is up with this code. At least I know when it disconnects now. Can you see my screen now? It's my network. My network is really terrible here. Thank God I got this one earlier. Alright. So this is where I am now. We are looking for requests that has the filter type or the filter of type. So if request has type, we're going to look for, let's say, query. Let's see. Back to it as equating query here, but that I just found out that if you do that, it will just override whatever is inside query. Alright, so we just run our query like that. So query where type is equal to where type is request type. Next thing is bedrooms. Request has bedrooms. Okay, let me pause for a bit. I don't think you guys are responding. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Anybody? Okay. So in bedrooms, then we do a query where bedrooms is equal to bedrooms. Bedrooms here is an integer, so it looks for if number of bedrooms is equals to 5 or 10, anyone. So another thing we can do here is price per annum. So we can do a price min and price max. Let's say if request has, or before we even go along, let's just check if our stuff works. Let's just check at least the ones we've done whether it works. So what we want to return here is return query this time, we're going to return our JSON response. Success true. Let's just give a simple message, search results. Yep, my screen has stopped sharing. Sorry, my internet is really crappy for some fucking reason. Please confirm that you can hear and see me again. We'll change venue for our class. The next classes we'll start using another software for our classes. This is annoying. Okay, so let's put it in a data field here. We've done our query. And before I do that, let's test it out. I'm going to create a new request. The new request will be for our search. This is my new request I created. So let's see. I use the parameter here, properties search. Now you can add parameters to your search for like this. You can go to here, params, in your postman, then you put your key. We have, what do we have? Let's see, type. Okay, let's see type. I think type was there. So self looking for a self com. I see it added here automatically. This is how a request parameter is usually added. Postman can do it for us. Let's just run this. Search results found, nothing. Then there is self-com in the database. Let's use our endpoints. Here, our endpoint get all properties. We have a type of apartment and self-com. So I can see it's not working. Let's run the test again. Hopefully we get nothing. Isn't that beautiful? Hide this. Sorry, I think I got disconnected again. Let me share my screen again. I'm so sorry about my terrible network today because I can't even hear you. You're cracking up. Okay. Need to round this up quickly. So I think I'm missing something. There should be a get. Yes, a get. Okay. Let's try this one more time and boom. Okay, we got value. So my mistake here was just as simple as this. I did not add the get keyword or function. Okay, so our type self-con is here. So let's add our other field, bedrooms, is equal to 5 or 4. It's nothing because the bedroom, there's no type and bedroom that also has there's no self-con that has 4 bedroom, but if we search only 4 here, I think we should get 1. Yeah, beautiful. Okay. So our search works. Let's do for minimum price and maximum price. So we see here if request has main price, request has main price, we say here the query should be query instead of this where main price. So we are looking at the minimum price should be 1,000, meaning everything else it should bring should be equal to or greater than 1,000. We say operators should be, let's go, greater than or equal to request main price. That should be it. Maximum price. Sorry, this should be the name of the column. The name of the column we're actually looking for is price per annum. So price per annum. this one should be less than or equal to max price. How far? Are you getting this so far? Alright. So what other search filter can we add here? Okay, this should be one. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, so it's a Laravel default. Like this is a query builder. So basically, what this is the first line is simple, instantiating the property class, just like giving you access to the properties. Then what query is you know, when you say let's see, properties or see, if you say here properties can give example, you say properties so this is a simple query. It will return all the properties. But what this allows you now, what this definition allows you to do, making this query variable with this, makes you able to chain queries to each other. So this is basically a query chain, because after running this, you can run multiple these things, searches on one variable. Like example, if we have state, type and bedrooms, it will apply to this particular variable, but you cannot do it with only when you identify just the property here. You get what I mean? This allows you to chain queries. Okay, so our response should actually be down here. Okay, I think as said, this is a simple search functionality. Let's test it. Let's see what we had max price, man. That the price we have here 70,000, which is less than the 100,000 we specified here. So this works. Let's say type self-con. If we also run this, it works because the self-con, this property here is also a self-con. But if we do type apartments, let's see if our apartment will show up. So our apartment also shows up. This is a different property. And how much is it? 70,000, which is less than 100,000. That's why it shows up. Alright. So we established our search function works. So let's see, search property. sure if you try minimum price it will also work. So the search functionality, it's done now. Okay, what other feature should we be looking at? Actually, are we going to look at in our next class? Done this. Okay, profile updates. I think you should be able to implement this yourself, but I can give you the process to use. The profile update is basically you want to update what do you want to update. Only thing we can update right now is the user's name. The user, that's the full name of the user. We've already done password updates. I think I'm done with the basics. Okay. Alright, next class. How to implement the profile update? Just changing the user's name. Changing the user's name to something else. Update the user's name. Create the user controller. As if the user controller is not here already. Create the user controller and implement that. It should be an authenticated route, because the user has to be logged in to change his profile details. Okay, that should be all. So I think next feature we should learn now is image upload. Yeah, we're going to be uploading images into the server, images of the property. But to do that, we will need some fields. But we'll discuss about that in the next class.